Well, friends, it is 2:32 p.m. I will call this meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting to order. And present with us today are Nathan Martin, Member of Council, Finance Director Brian Crum, Deputy Finance Director Amber Cutlip, Mayor Stephen Shag, and myself, Garland Gates. And Joe is in the periphery if we need him. So, well, friends, let's get started. Take a look at the January report. Mr. Crum.
All right. Where would you like to start? You want to start at the front today or the back page?
Oh, let's be different. Let's start at the front.
Okay. I'm really fairly happy with how things are going for January. The top line item, the general ledger or the general fund, we ended the month with a 1.185 million in cash, a little over $1 million after encumbrances. That's up 365,000 from last year. We are down 117,000 for the year. That doesn't really surprise me a whole lot. I know last January was the same way. I think it was most of them because, our property tax funds and the majority of our income tax money really haven't come in yet this year.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising to see a drop in January. So nothing really unusual in that account. All the paving, the various street and highway funds, we really haven't started any projects with those. So those are just kind of hanging in there. Nothing really notable. Income tax, the health fund, that is down about 23,000 for the month. What's our ending balance there? It's 453,000. Once again, a lot of those funds are from property taxes, which haven't come in yet, so that's not a problem. We do have some increased expenditures due to the COVID vaccinations coming out of that fund. We've hired a temporary a person from the temp agency to help schedule appointments and such.
Good.
And obviously we purchased a refrigerator and everything. So, but that fund is still rather healthy. I'm not worried at all about that. Park fund, almost no change. I think we're up $282 for the year. Nothing too notable really through the rest of the 200s. Anything out of the ordinary? Not really. 283, our coronavirus relief fund. We still have $22,652 unencumbered for that fund. We have until the end of the year to decide what to do with that. I will tell you that the funds we used in the fall, there were 2 deadlines as far as reporting them to Ohio. And the first of those deadlines was like September 30th, I think. So we'd expended the first 100,000 for the small business grant, and maybe like 12,000 other expenses. That has been reviewed by Ohio at this point, and they are happy with that because I reported those, and they just today sent me an email saying they've reviewed that, and they'll let us know if they have any questions, but they don't seem to have any issues with that.
When you say they, do you mean the state auditor's office or?
No, it's the oh gosh, I'll go right here. The nice thing with Zoom meetings is I've got all my files right in front of me.
There you go.
It is the Ohio Grants Partnership, part of the Office of Budget and Management.
Okay.
So I will keep you guys apprised as those reports are done and Ohio has accepted them.
Mm-hmm.
What else we have here? Capital improvements. We haven't actually expended anything out of capital improvement, which is not surprising because we don't really want to do anything, especially from that fund, until council tells us to. So that's hanging steady. More of the same with the streets, sidewalks, accounts. Nothing too notable with the police construction fund. Those payments come out, I think, December and maybe mid-year. So that should just go up. Okay, the sewer
Right.
fund, 400. They held very steady. There's 213,000 in cash. It's up $538 for the month. After encumbrances, it's just shy of 180 grand. So no real change in that fund, which I guess is better than a reduction. The 401 fund, you do see $189,000 reduction. In January, we have to make, I think it's $227,000 payment on the wastewater treatment plant note. So that's why that fund reduced for the month. We pay those in January and July. So that's not surprising there. The 402 fund, that one is down about 16,000 for the year. We make, I believe the payment on the West Main Street sewer construction note was $20,000 that came out in January. And that one will also come out in July as well. That is still a floating number, as the project is still not officially complete. But for now, that Amber might have some.
No, I was just trying to listen in. No, that's like you said, it's a construction loan. So right now it's all estimated. It's going to grow as the balance, and stuff grows on that. So we'll have, as the project is closer and closer to being complete, we'll have a better payment and stuff update for that. So
Do we have an idea when it's all going to be done and the final figure is going to come to council for assessment ordinance?
if Joe's listening, he might have a better idea on that. I'm not sure right offhand what the final numbers. I do stay in contact with OWDA frequently, especially when we get closer to the payment. I'll go on and double check it to make sure they don't surprise me with something, so I try to do that. I did tell them when I got the schedule, it's still estimated, of course, but when I got the schedule in December, I was told them it's for budget purposes, for the year, and that's what they sent me. But I don't know if like our July payment, for example, they might surprise me. I hope not. But I know to check with them when we get closer to that time period. I'm not sure when the project will be completed, though. Joe would have a much better idea on that there, honestly.
And at the same time, Steve and I have been discussing the assessments and that sort of thing. And I do have an amortization schedule based on the anticipated total completion cost. And I've got some questions for the county auditor about it, and because I made an amortization schedule, but it doesn't. My traditional banking amortization schedule doesn't really line up exactly with how, like, I'm looking at like the Mickey Road assessments and such. So I need to figure out why things are different, and so I'm going to be checking with the county auditor. But I will be getting stuff around for council, and I'll be asking you guys probably.
Yeah, one thing to think about is and I think it's a September date that the county auditor requires all assessments to be in. Just kind of a sidebar, and this is maybe something Stacy would have a better idea. Have we gotten all the monies for weed mowings that we can expect to get? If everything's said and done, we can go ahead and get that legislation done and get it over to the auditor and this out of the way long before September, as opposed to last year where we kind of were crunched. But when all the figures are said and done and the assessments are calculated per parcel, we do have to notify the property owners and give them an opportunity, to pay up front. The city has traditionally allowed people to make partial payments. I think the law says, it's kind of an all or none. We've not been that pharisaical about it. that, if you want to pay something, we'll take a down payment and then assess the balance. So, and, I think there's like 30 days, we have to give people, to do that. So, we need to build that in. But, think about that date in September and start working
Yeah.
backwards so that we're not, the last thing we want to do is miss that September date and then,
Wait a whole year.
have to go a whole year, because that screws up all the calculations of the interest and the whole deal. So,
Mhm.
September's a long way off, but as we know, lo and behold, it's here before we realize it. And there's a lot of steps that have to be done here, on a project like that, so that we get, what the bottom line figures are. So,
That makes sense.
okay.
All right. I
Yeah,
will.
typically, I think they pay those weed nets. So the ones for 2020, for example,
Mhm.
they have like a date, maybe in November or something. Stacy could clarify that for us. But typically, if they don't pay by then, they're not going to pay it. So
Right,
you
right.
really, they could get started on that now for 2020, and get that going.
Good. Get that over and done with.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
That makes sense. I can definitely jump on that as soon as we get through appropriations here. Okay. What else do we have? The water fund. There's the cash balance is almost 307,000, about 216,000 after encumbrances. We are up 19,654 for the year, and we're doing a lot better than this time last year. We're actually up about 107,000 from the balance in January of last year. So once again, another fund that, as we've talked, we've got to keep a close eye on. The 501 fund had actually the final loan payment for the water treatment plant came out in January. So that's why that dropped by 125,000. I think that loan payment with interest was like 144,000, but that is paid off. So hooray.
Mayor, are you and Mr. Ensman and the water and superintendent who's recently come here from Willard, whose name I'm sorry I can't remember. Are we going to have a mortgage burning or something out there at the?
I've got on my calendar to discuss that with John. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Strike
that
up
would
the
be,
band. Yeah,
that would be certainly something to celebrate.
it is. Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's on my calendar to get together with John and line up a day for that. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, the electric fund, it has a balance of 5.9 million. It's about 4.7 after encumbrances. We are up $83,590 for the year, which it's an interesting fund because it seems like everything that we try to do to reduce it, we just match reduction in expenses, and it keeps holding steady. So I know that Mr. Ensman is continuing to work on options and to reduce that fund balance, and we were discussing a few of them in the last week or so. So I'm sure he'll be discussing those with you guys as well, probably in the next meeting.
Well, I looked at the end of the year, and I don't have those right in front of me, but we fell far short of where we had wanted to reduce the electric fund. And now I know there's any number of reasons, that enter into this, but we keep talking about, providing electric rate relief, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not happening.
Yeah, so hopefully John has some thoughts in the utilities meeting coming up here at 3:30 for that. I'm pretty sure that he does.
He does, and we have legislation that will be on council. I believe will be on council's docket for Tuesday.
Perfect.
Good.
Thanks, Nathan.
So, yep. We are going to be reducing further. So.
Very cool. Other items. The light debt reserve fund is down about 45,000 for the year. That's because the demolition of the buildings around the light plant, we're starting to pay those bills. So that project is coming along. It well, that's all rubble now. I don't know if they've got it all cleaned up, but it is moving along. Nothing too notable in the fire and police pension or equipment funds. Hospitalization fund is up about 21,000 with a balance of $640,801, which is up. It's up $307,000 from last year, which is just really quite amazing. So I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully we do get a relief there and can skip a payment later on this year. But I'm just glad that it's holding steady.
Right, right.
Brian, have we, or maybe Amber, I thought there was a threshold and we were close to the threshold. Amber, do you have any idea what the next couple of months might hold?
What's
in
our
regard to
threshold?
perhaps getting a break, partial premium, or the whole,
AWC?
pardon?
Are you talking about our workers' comp premiums?
Hospitalization.
Oh, the hospitalization.
Sorry.
uh,
I was like which threshold? Sorry,
Right.
thinking of that. No, we have to request that. So they don't do unless we request it.
It almost seem like we're in a place to request it, aren't we now, you think? I mean, that's,
Technically, we only have to have a minimum balance. It's behind me somewhere, but it's less than 300,000 in that fund. I mean, it's really not much of a balance I expect, surprisingly, to have that little breather room. We can discuss it a little bit more.
sure.
So about the hospitalization fund, I hear stuff from employees, if you would, with concerns related to that. So I can share that information too. I don't know how much we want to entertain any other ideas or something, but I hear stuff that you might
Okay.
want to, that I should probably make you aware of as I hear it. So,
Sure. Okay.
so,
All righty. We'll talk.
okay.
I'm looking down at the encumbrances that we have the total of, pushing $1.8 million. My question is, how much of that are from 2020? And how much is from 2021?
I'd have to look for it.
And again, my, perpetual recommendation, gripe, whine, complaint, whatever, that, we cancel them out. Now I know the one, for example, from the light debt reserve fund, that's for a contract that's pending, that's from last year, and that's, we're still obliged for that $57,000 there. But, again, wanting to know what is actually free and clear January 1st, so that we can get, the best certificate of available resources from the Budget Commission.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if the report summarizes the grand total, and I don't think it does by fund. Let me check another report.
At 12/31, the total encumbrances were 1.554 million. And so obviously it's down from that year. And I know as I'm doing appropriations, I got to throw all that stuff in, which I have a column for. She's going through that. I think 825,000 of it is just monthly purchase power encumbrances for the
Sure.
department.
We know that's always going to be big.
Yeah. But
and that bill for 2020 would have come due already, and that would have been paid. So, well, you know what my concern is. There's no reason to dwell on it anymore here, but it's always to the city's advantage to zero out purchase orders just as soon as we can.
Right, I agree.
That makes sense.
All right, well, let's move on. Unless there's any questions here on the first page. Nathan, do you have any?
Nope, I do not.
Okay. All right, page 2.
Okay, second page, our total budget, revenue, or I'm sorry, expenditures exceeded revenues by 329,000 for the total budget, which is not surprising because a lot of our revenues haven't come in. We had a lot of note payments in January.
Mm-hmm.
I am happy to see that compared to last year, even though our revenues were down 112,000, our expenses are down 508,000 from last year. So I think we're managing things fairly well. General fund is sort of the same deal. As we talked, its expenditures exceeded revenues by 117, but both are, we've kind of reduced our expenditures, not quite matching our revenues from last year. So still very comfortable with that fund. The middle of that page, the various revenue funds. The only thing really notable thing there is the 240 line item, the income tax transfer is actually up $8,733 from last year. So we actually brought in more money in tax revenue in January this year than we did last year. And I'll talk about that more. Well, actually, here at I might as well we'll skip down to the bottom of this page with the various income tax brackets. You'll see that withholding is $307,000 in January compared to $283,000 last year, which is up 8.35%. From last year, it's up 18.71% for the 3-year average, which really surprised me a lot. Granted, January includes all of the fourth quarter quarterly withholding payments, all those business returns and any square ups and everything that businesses may have made a mistake with when they're doing payroll returns. I'm really surprised because January last year was really strong. So to exceed that withholding this year, that threw me for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping that it would be close to last year, but to see it be above, I'm really surprised at that. And that's all real time data. It does give me a glimmer of hope for our 2021 appropriations and such. Obviously the individual and business tax returns they're going to be down. And really January, it's kind of I don't want to say a waste of a month when comparing the individual business returns, but the individual returns, we've got all of the 2019, it's just maybe just a few stragglers and people we sent to courts. So we got all their returns, but yet it's too early to really get the 2020 tax returns in. So it's just sort of a limbo month. So that's why I'm not too worried about, the business returns being down 64% compared to the average.
Right.
You will know more in a month, but the withholding being up, that just surprises me. And it should be, as long as everything stays open, I guess it'll continue to be good. I see no reason for that to change in the first quarter or second quarter of 2021. Really, it should be better than 2020 because hopefully no one will be laid off.
Yeah.
So that's good news.
Good.
Surprisingly good news. Kind of skipping back up just a little bit, expenditures, the general fund wages right there in the middle of the page. It's 218,000 compared to 205,000. It says it's up 6.25%. That's doesn't really alarm me a whole lot because it's such a small year-to-date number. Somebody have several people rolling over vacation, or if we have one extra employee, which I think we might maybe in the police department or fire or something. Little things like that can have a big effect on that percentage in the first few months of the year. So I'm not worried that it says it's up 6.25%. I think that's a lot of timing differences, and that will come down to the roughly 1% that I'm kind of expecting wages to be up 1 to 2%. Obviously, capital improvements, not a whole lot to talk about here because we really haven't done anything yet as far as expenditures on that front. Same way with the police court fund. They've brought in some revenues, but no expenditures this month. So that's about it for that page, unless anybody has any questions.
Moving right along.
Okay. The next page discusses the utilities in more depth. Obviously, we kind of already covered those. It's nice to see wastewater and water up a little bit, even if it's just a little bit. But all those funds are in a healthy trend, I suppose. Middle of the page, it lists expenditures or wages for all funds. You'll see it's wages for everything is 0.8% up. So that's a much better reflection of what we're planning for the year. Hospitalization is up 3.6%, which is not all that unusual either. I think they were saying it was going to be 2.5% or something, Amber, as far as a rate increase. But
Yeah, exactly. You gotta think expenditures go right along with it every year too, though.
yeah, oh yeah, so true.
You have to keep in mind at the beginning of the year, then they'll slow down, or it'll seem like it slows down a little bit because then people's deductibles and everything start over. So the employees pay a little bit more at the beginning of the year, and then as the year goes on, then we kind of kick in paying our share, if you would, on that. So it does tend to slow down every January, February, and that kicks back up as they meet their deductibles.
That makes sense. The fund transfers from the income tax fund, you see them all listed there. As we talked there, it's up 8,733 for the general fund. The transfers are up a total of 13,720 from last year, at just a few pennies shy of $320,000 we made in income tax revenue this month. So that's fabulous and shocking. Then refunds were nil last month. I think it was $74. So,
Brian, what are you hearing, from your neighboring colleagues about income tax? What, knowing of course every town is different, but
I've had a lot of conversations, especially with Larry Paxton, about it, and it seems like no one really wants to commit to anything. His consensus and really the few conversations I've had with the various other finance directors that I chat with here and there is it's not that terrible. Everybody kind of seems to hang in there. We're probably hanging in there a little better because we don't rely on the entertainment and travel industry nearly as much as some of our neighbors do, or the retail side of things. As much as I would love to build a massive retail base here in town to get visitors and more people live, we're lucky in this case in that our major employers haven't slowed down because their industries just didn't. So it's just kind of is what it is. I think they're finding that their withholding is not dropping like it should. Everybody's expecting business returns, especially, to be in the tank this year, and individuals will be down for those who are on unemployment.
Hey, Brian.
Not
trying to interrupt, but I noticed that question came across about, think about an insurance agent that typically works here in town, but then they were working remote there for months on end. How are they going to be treated? Did we make a decision on that or determination rolling on that?
We did. So the question, Garland and Nathan, was, and actually this got posed by one of our accountants in town.
And Amber, that was just ready to come out of my mouth, that very same question. So
Imagine.
We are going to follow the lead of Columbus and Rita and Mansfield and seems like everybody else. They are not recognizing the time that people spent working from home as being out of town, as days out of town. They're assuming that withholding is still as if they were at the office. And I haven't found any state or any loopholes in our ordinances per se to go otherwise. So at this point, unless I hear otherwise, and I am looking into it continually, is that we will not be refunding withholding that companies did while their employees worked at home.
Well, but there's also a great likelihood that the state legislature is going to weigh in on this.
Yeah, that is very true.
I mean, those are things that have come from OML, when we read those weekly legislative bulletins. So,
yeah, they may force us to. We'll see how it goes. The big cities are not doing that right now, but yeah, Ohio very well could say, nope, you're gonna do it, and then we'll follow suit. But I would hope that they would make that determination very quickly if they're going to, because a lot of returns are going to be filed here in the next month. And so
yeah.
That's an interesting topic to think about, because then at the same time, I think about someone that lives here in town who normally would pay like, all that to Mansfield or part of Mansfield. Maybe it's just due to the city strictly, and there's no that forgiveness needed then in that case. So
yeah, we would make more money. Yeah.
Wouldn't they just pay all their taxes to Shelby then? If they live in Shelby, then they're essentially working in Shelby. So that's kind of an interesting, curious how the state rules in on that.
Well, the big factor is, are you an employment community or are you a bedroom community? And Shelby is now a bedroom community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's correct. And I think it also plays into the fact that some of these businesses are getting tax write-offs because they have virtual or home offices and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting they can't have their cake and eat it too, so to speak.
Very true.
Yep.
But yeah, I will definitely be keeping a close eye on that, and I'll let you guys know
Okay.
as I find things out.
Well, part of it, look, I'll weigh in. And this has been true in the legislature, particularly in the House, for a long, long time. There's a, I can't give you a figure, but has been shared over the years. We have such a high percentage of members of the Ohio House of Representatives who are former township officials, and they are openly antagonistic towards municipalities. So, we've got, sad to say, in many cases, when municipalities have, legislation of interest in the General Assembly, particularly in the House, we go in with 2 strikes against us from the get-go. And this would be a perfect example of that.
Yeah, it would. That is very true. So hopefully they let it slide. But yeah, that could be interesting.
It's always interesting.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's move on here. The clock is clicking, so.
The next page is our cash investment reconciliation. Not a whole lot of notable things here. Our grand total cash balance is $14,462,925. Of that, the general fund is $4.15 million. Or the general account, which is more than just the general fund, excuse me. I think what our electric checking account is $2.8 million. But yeah, nothing's really changed as far as any of the investment side in the top half. It's all pretty much the same as last month, as we're waiting for things to time out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about it on that page.
Okay.
The next page is just the Sutter Roush Fund. It's down about $1,000, which is just investment changes in the Edward Jones account, but it has 186,000 in it. And the final page is just our comparison of income tax. You see the bottom one really mirrors the top one in this month because it's all year to date. But yeah, we're up 4.28% from last year, 15% from the 3-year average, which is just surprising. But I sure hope that it continues, but I don't know that it will. I think
Don't hold your breath, Director.
that's right. That's right. But that, my friend, is my report. Unless anybody has any
Okay.
questions.
Mr. Martin, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't know. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we'll go to the mayor and ask about any personnel issues.
I don't believe I have anything along the lines of personnel for today. I mean, as Brian mentioned, we did bring on a part-time employee, well, not really an employee. She's a paid volunteer. I guess that's what. No, she's Amber, help me here, through temporary services.
She's a
Correct.
right, she is a temporary employee. I guess a paid volunteer would be the people, I mean, she's regular help, like she has scheduled hours and everything.
Yeah.
But it's only for a temporary period of time. Where a paid volunteer is someone that, like the volunteer firefighters, for example, where
Right.
on call basis, they don't have to even come in technically if we call them, but if they do come in, then we pay them. So,
Right.
yeah.
But she's getting paid per hour to answer the phones and to line up appointments and follow-ups and doing a very good job with it.
Well, it's very wise, where particularly Tiffany, as an RN, her skills are, can be better used than answering the phone. I mean, answering the phone is important, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
who can best do that, and to have a temp in there who can take some of the heat off, so to speak, is very wise.
Yep. Yeah, it was a good move.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't think even of any questions to ask at this point. Mr. Martin, do you have any questions regarding personnel matters?
No, sir.
Just kind of a friendly sidebar. How's Chief Combs doing?
He's showing up to work.
I believe he has a follow-up appointment tomorrow and get an idea of what the doctor's going to allow him to do from there on. Last time I'd heard, things were healing up as far as, outside visuals are concerned, but I suppose they're going to take x-rays. He's
Sure.
just like anybody would be hoping and praying no more surgery would be necessary at this point.
Oh, good.
But yeah, it's hard to keep him down for long, but I think everybody's been giving him the counsel, just, don't overdo it.
Long story short, I had a colleague at Pioneer. I can't remember, it was a knee replacement or hip replacement, and a wonderful teacher, but bless her heart, she thought she knew more than her doctor, and she went from being off her off her feet to a walker, and she thought she was doing much better, and on her own she graduated herself from a walker to a cane and then fell and tore up things. So
Wow. Yeah.
And knowing the chief as well as I know him, wanting to get back to work and be in the thick of things,
Yeah.
we ignore our doctors at our own peril. And so I'm sure it's been very frustrating for the chief to not, be in there all the time. But,
Right.
it's wise for him to listen to the doctor. So.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, if I have nothing else, Mr. Martin, anything else? last call.
No, sir.
Okay, well, we will adjourn at 3:12 PM. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Mhm.
Thanks, guys.
Mhm. Oh, wait. One more thing. I'm sorry.
It didn't switch off the recorder. You're good.
That's right. Okay. We had talked at the last council meeting about dividing our appropriations into two sessions, one with utilities and then we can do the others, as they are. You know, Mayor, you're president of council. You can, maybe send out an email or, offer some suggestions as to when we might do this.
Yes, sir. We're looking at either 17th, 18th, or 19th. I want to, Nathan is gone, right? He's going to be back by then, if I recall correctly. But I really need to check with Darren on what, time of day he may be able to, get off early or whatever. And then Mr. McLaughlin would have to make sure that he's not substitute teaching that particular day. Is there a day that's better for you, Garland, right off the bat?
And
That's
this would
Wednesday,
be-
Thursday, Friday.
Um,
Oh, I can't do it Friday. We're having a vaccination clinic on Fridays. So it'd have to be the 17th or 18th. I'm sorry.
Wednesday would be better. I could do it just about any time on Wednesday, I think, or Thursday morning.
Thursday morning would be preferable.
Well, because it's getting late already, Yeah, Thursday AM.
But perhaps if no one else, you might be able to squeeze in a Wednesday.
Yeah,
All righty. I'll try to get my own version of a, what do they call a monkey survey or whatever. See, I'll put out a couple of dates and see. I'll check with Darren first because I think it pretty much plays around his work schedule when he can get off. Do you think we can manage that in 3 hours, 3.5 hours? I'm trying to remember what that portion
No,
usually
it takes
takes.
us 6 hours, 6.5 hours or whatever to do the whole thing. So if you split it in half, you could probably do 3 and 3.
I'm going to allow 3.5 maybe. So I'll talk with John too and see what he thinks.
John said he could do it in 3 hours if he had to. 3.5 would be comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll check with Darren next, and then I'll shoot off an email here. We're
okay.
really it's such a time-consuming thing here trying to get. We're having a huge vaccination clinic on the 19th. We're going to be providing vaccinations for the school systems here, Pioneer, Shelby, and St. Mary's, and it's going to be quite about 325 coming through. So it's a great collaborative effort. It's coming together pretty well, but it just takes time. My.
Yeah.
So all right, we'll get this out and see how that works. I'm with you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, now we're done. All
All
right.
right, very good.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adjourn.
Bye.